It is official. Breaking news. President Trump is to sign into law the reopen of the U.S. government in 1 hour. So, boom, all crypto and stock holding locked in. A lot of people are very excited about what could potentially happen tomorrow. Now, the bill will be signed tonight. Government opens up tomorrow. People think everything going back into regular motion could push this up to the upside. We do have our short-term momentum is cranking to the upside, but our long-term momentum has a ways to climb. Now, what I did want to point out, though, is if you remember, if we go back in history to November 1st, this was November 1st, 2024, price did sit sideways for quite some time. It had a little bit of movement to the upside, but it didn't really gain bullish momentum on our long-term momentum indicator until here, which was November 9th. Now, we also have to understand, though, there was no government shutdown in 2024. And if we look at November 9th, 2025, we did actually hit a nice bottom here, potentially at $2.20, as we talked about in the intro. We had 4 consecutive days of body candle closes right there holding steady, and we did start to surge to the upside. Short-term and mid-term momentum started turning up. So those were positive things. There are signs that point to possibility of moving to the upside. And if we go back in Bitcoin's history to November of 2024, Bitcoin was trading right here at $67,000. And then boom, we had a nice moonshot to the upside for multiple consecutive weeks. As we can see here on Bitcoin as well, the short-term momentum has started cranking to the upside. Price itself has not yet. Mid-term momentum also not. And then long-term momentum not either. So the exciting thing is if we do start building momentum here at these bottoms levels and we start to push up, there's a lot of room to run. This was also an interesting post that I saw from Sir Trades a lot. So the Fed just now increased their transaction limit to $10 million. NASDAQ announces imminent XRP spot ETF launch, which will be tomorrow morning, by the way. SEC gives guidance on crypto taxonomy, all one day before XRP ETFs go live, which is on this Thursday. And this coming from the Federal Reserve Financial Services X account. This just in, the Fed Now Service Network transaction limit has increased to $10 million, up from $1 million. This increase will help financial institutions enable higher value instant payment use cases for their customers, like real estate transactions, corporate payroll, and more. Also, just in, top U.S. business executives to attend a private dinner at the White House with President Trump tonight. While you're watching this, if you're watching this in the morning, it was last night. That's right, business executives from the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, JP Morgan, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs will be there. Also breaking new, as of 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Canary Fund's XRP ETF is officially effective after NASDAQ certified the listing, clearing XRPC for launch tomorrow at market open. On top of that, Eleanor Tourette got an exclusive post from CEO of Canary Fund, Steve McClung, saying here, we are very excited to go effective with the first single token spot XRP ETF. This would not have been possible without the leadership of Chairman Atkins. That would be Paul Atkins at the SEC, Commissioner Pierce, also at the SEC, and all the other fine people at the SEC and pro-free markets. So they threw a nice shot in there to our old pal Gary Gensler. Also, big breaking news for the economy as a whole. Trump admin is looking into normalizing portable mortgages, allowing Americans to keep their interest rate, term, and lender when moving to a different home. So the reason this is so important, by the way, for those of you guys that may or may not be inside of real estate, as you all know, that's my other gig that I do full-time, real estate investment. Well, when it comes to someone who has a 3% mortgage on their house right now, let's say that they were able to, over the last couple of years, make more money, expand their life, and they want to move into a bigger home. Well, if they were to take that 3% mortgage and they want to go buy a more expensive, even a less expensive, doesn't matter. The next home they buy will be at 7% interest. That's what right now the going rate on a 30-year mortgage is. That would literally, if they bought $1 million years ago at 3%, they're paying about $5,000 a month. Now, if they were to pay that same $5,000 a month, it would only buy them a $500,000 house. Their buying power is literally cut in half. But if they were able to transfer that mortgage rate with them, this is huge breaking amazing news if they can get this passed for the economy. But hey, for all of you out there that are freaking out, you need to find a shortcut. You're running out of that dry powder. You've dollar cost averaged for so much. You need some more money. Well, here's your last ditch effort. Mega Millions nears $1 billion. And the tax man says, thanks in advance. So they're already, the government's already talking about the IRS taking your money. So no one hit the numbers yesterday. So the Mega Millions jackpot is now $965 million. It will be $1 billion here shortly. Obviously, before the next drawing, it'll be $1 billion. It's the second biggest prize of the year after September's $1.78 billion Powerball. Could you imagine almost winning $2 billion off of a lottery? Sounds life-changing, right? Sure. Until the IRS shows up. A lump sum would drop yours down to $445 million and shrink that to about $280 million after federal taxes. Live in New York, slice off another 10%. Florida, congrats, you get to keep what's left. Next draw is Friday. Dream big, just budget small. So if you win this $965 billion, it'll be cut in half to $445 million. And then you have to pay taxes on that because the lump sum is always paid out in a smaller amount anyway. You could take it out on deferred payments, which they give you a certain amount every single month. Also, a lot of people are missing. Trump continues to say dividend instead of stimulus check. And if you're into stocks at all, you know that it's smart to own dividend stocks. Why? Because those stocks pay you out every single time they pay dividends. Some pay quarterly, some pay monthly, whatever. But this is a dividend Trump keeps on saying, which would be a reoccurring payment, not just a one-time stimulus check. And if you guys didn't see it, David Schwartz did make a post on X saying, I am deeply and $74.24 in debt to Hugo Weaving, Agent Smith from The Matrix, for recording my new voicemail. And then there's a video that was playing that you could hear sound on. Well, in reality, people are speculating that this is the price of XRP because, as you know, David Schwartz is notorious for posting cryptic messages that are relying or related to XRP and pricing. Well, Ripple Bullwinkle says the CTO of Ripple, the guy who built XRP ledger posts 74.24 per XRP, then deletes it. It's not random. That's a message. Now, as we talked about in the intro of the video, traders' moods are fading towards crypto, which is welcome news for those patient people. Now, as you saw in the beginning, I do always cover the fear and greed index, and we are in the fear zone. We're not in extreme fear just yet. We may not get there again, but Bitcoin, even bullish bearish ratio of social media comments, significantly lower than usual. Ethereum, just over 50% more bullish versus bearish comments, less than usual. And XRP, less than half of the comments are bullish versus bearish. One of the most fearful moments of 2025. And this is crazy because, as you know, XRP Army always stays consistent with support behind XRP. But right now, people are waning. When the crowd turns negative on assets, especially the top market caps in crypto, it's a signal that we are reaching a point of capitulation, meaning traders are done. They don't care about crypto anymore. They're forgetting about it. And once retail sells off, key stakeholders scoop up those dropped coins and pump the price. It's not a matter of if, but when this will happen next. So as we take a look here, Ethereum being in the gold, we can see it's a little higher than all of the others. Bitcoin is an even amount right now, bullish versus bearish, but XRP is down in the basement here, not doing well at all. It is significantly less bullish than the other cryptos. Now, one thing I did want to post, because we do cover this type of stuff from time to time, this digital ID is bugging me. I'm not a big fan of this. As we, I've talked about this a lot. This is what bothers me about potentially going full digital and having no fiat currency or dollar bills left. But what's really interesting, this woman here on X named Robin posted, my based retired mom has lots of times on her hand, and she made it her hobby to read hundreds of pages of documents from the World Economic Forum in her spare time. What her mom told her is that they plan to have your digital ID connected to your funds so that if, for example, you decide not to get the jab, they can temporarily disable access to your bank accounts until you do. Any transgression against the slave matrix will trigger the same consequence. Scary stuff. And it's apparently all out in the open if you're willing to sift through their public records on their plans for the future. It's really interesting because people always talk about, oh, I need new conspiracies because all the old ones are done. Well, this is something that's been around for a very long time. You can even, like, if you ever hear of Alex Jones or listen to Alex Jones from time to time, he's been talking about this exact thing for about 10 years. If my recollection reminds me, I haven't been listening to him for 10 years. I hear him every once in a while, but he's always saying, I read this in the document 10 years ago. Klaus Schwab, he's out there trying to. Now, Klaus Schwab was also forced to step down. What's also really interesting with the World Economic Forum, the new person stepping up in his place, Larry Fink from BlackRock, which is even more scary potential.